You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say something maybe a bit controversial, I think. You know those character design tutorials where they tell you tips about how to make your character look interesting or how to make a proper character design? Where they tell you, oh, the silhouette should be like this, oh, the shape language like that, and the color theory, the color combination should be like this and that. All of those rules, beginner stuff thingies. Do you want to know something? All of those things are useless. Okay, all of those things are in vain if you don't know about this one important advice that you need to know when doing a character design. Okay? Now, before we proceed, let me tell you something. If you're doing this character design just for fun, just on a whim, not really taking it seriously, then you don't have to take this advice full-heartedly because, let me give you an example. Like, if your character doesn't need to be on a web comic or an animation or a novel, then it's fine to skip this advice. Or just take this advice lightheartedly, something like that. Because it is possible to create an amazing character design without a very heavy description. Like, we will get onto it, okay? We will get onto it. I just want to let this out, okay? I just don't want to be, labeled as very strict or something. But yeah, for me, I thought this advice is kind of obvious. I don't know. I mean, even myself when I was younger, I didn't pay too much attention to this advice. I thought I was being an idiot. I thought other people are doing it well and properly. But I am actually surprised that not a lot of artists, especially beginner artists, doesn't really know about this. But you know what? I will help you guys. I will help the beginner artists because when you search up character design, how to make a character design tutorial online, they will give you the fundamentals of how to create the character design, which is great, which is good. But because of that overwhelming advice of those things, a lot of people are covering it. Then most artists tend to forget this one advice. They just probably forget about it or maybe brush it off. But I need to emphasize that that one advice is very important if you want to create a very well-rounded character design. Okay? Okay. Character storytelling. That's it. Just the storytelling of a character. Like, build a backstory of your character and then maybe put some character. Of course, you have to put some character. What do you mean, maybe? I retract my last statement. Put a characteristic or personality of your characters, right? It's simple. It's simple dimple. I think what we need is a step by step, okay? We need that. And we're gonna simplify it, okay? The first step is the character storytelling. So basically, it is what it sounds like. You just have to create a story around your character. And if you have a well thought out story for your character, then you would start to visualize what your character might look like. That's the purpose of writing or thinking about the story of the character. It will help you visualize. But Mary, I'm struggling to visualize. It's hard. Don't worry. Don't worry. Sometimes I'm like that too. There are times that my brain has this own sentient and refuse to obey my will. So I'm gonna help you right there. And that's where we segue into step 2, right? Is this step 2, right? Okay. Step 2, if you're struggling to visualize your character, then this is where you gather your reference. Yay! References! It's very important. It is not cheating. You want to be able to gather references that is based on the story that you're writing on your character. Where to get reference, Mari? Well, you can use the internet. You can look up other artists' work or your favorite artist's work, like my own work. Just kidding. Of course. Anyway, you can look at like shows like anime, cartoons, movies, comics, mangas, a lot of sources that you can use as a reference, really. But what if you're in a situation that you don't have any internet? What if you don't have that? What if you don't have any like device? Then use the world around you. Just use that. You can use real life people as a reference. In fact, all of the medias that you are seeing in your device are all based on real life. So you could do that as well. Use the real people. Observe animal. Look at the backgrounds. Look how perspective works in real life. You can do that. So, see, we had a lot of sources for our reference, so we really don't have a good excuse not to use reference, okay? Okay, let's use step 1 and step 2 into application. I'm gonna use my own character as an example for all of these steps. So, okay. Okay, this is my character. He's the main character of my webcomic, as I've mentioned before. And yes, he's a guy, not a girl. So his name is Diu. And the story that I gave him is, I think, it's fairly simple and generic. And there's nothing wrong with those two as long as you're able to execute it well, okay? So to summarize his story, he mainly grew up with his adoptive mother. And I want to give Diu a gentle and or tender attitude. I want him to be soft and caring to the point that he will put himself behind for the sake of others. So that is his main characteristic. And to also summarize what type of skills he has or what he's passionate about, is that he loves inventing stuff. I told you this is generic and simple. However, he's not the type of inventor that invents advanced gadgets. Do you know what I mean? How do I explain this? He's not like Phineas and Ferb or a mad scientist. The things that he's inventing is very simple as well. Like majority of his inventions are just toys for kids. That's it. That's really it. The things that he's making is just mainly for entertainment purposes only. It does not help advance their kingdom or the purpose of this world. So that's the summary of his character. And now let's go for visualizing. Visualization. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I will gather references for DU. I think I'll show you the references I use for DU. So here are the images that I use. I mainly get them in Pinterest. And I'm gonna say something. I really love the aesthetic of steampunk and fantasy together, like medieval steampunk vintage together. I really love that, so I wanted to put that in my story and onto my characters. So I think that's what I was trying to do, like that kind of vibe, a very simplified version. So I gave Diu a suspender and a goggle and a bag around his face just to indicate that he is a type of inventor. Now the reason why I give, oh my gosh, what is that noise? Yeah, anyway, the reason why I gave Dio this post is to show people that Dio does have some confidence. I mean, he does have confidence. He is eager to socialize with other people. He's willing to engage in a conversation. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because some people assume that Dio is timid and or very shy, like an introvert. Because I mentioned before that Dio is a gentle and soft type of person. And because of those traits, people just assume that he is very shy and very introverted. I'm like, that's not how I want to execute Dio. So like I mentioned before, Dio is an extrovert, but not the loud and hyper type of person. So how do I do that? How do I execute a post showing that he's willing to engage with people while not being too hyper about it? So what I did, I gave Dio an expressive smile, like a friendly smile, welcoming a person and waving his other hand or arm. And to show that he's not that type of annoying or hyper extroverted person, I drew him fiddling with his buttons, showing that humbleness, something like that. I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. Ouch. Maybe Dio is like an unconscious subconscious inspiration of my friend, because I do have a friend like that. She's very extroverted. She has a lot of friends. She's easy to engage with. She actually talked to me first before anyone else did, but she's very soft spoken, very gentle, always looks out for you. I have never seen a very considerate and very nice and gentle person in my life. So that's that. Maybe I he was inspired by her. So yeah, that's cool. See, reference people, reference. Oh, another trait that I gave to you is that whenever he's feeling nervous or he's thinking in general, he tends to bite his fingernails or his fingers in general. That's another side tip there. Put some mannerism or a habit to make the character feel more alive or believable. Basically, try to imagine how your character will react in a certain situation. Let's imagine a scene. Let's say character A, she was stretching her arms up in the air and then she accidentally hit the vase. If Dio saw that, he's gonna be like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you hurt? Are you sure you don't have any wound?" And then clean up the vase later on. But if this is another character of mine, for example, I have a character named Amaya and he is more hot-tempered in a way, especially when you triggered him. If he was the one who sees that, who see the broken vase, he's gonna be like, "What the heck? What are you doing? Or why are you not careful? Look at this vase. It's now broken and clean this up, clean this mess up." So giving them a reaction, especially unique ones, will help them elevate as a character or help them feel more believable. Okay? Okay. I'm actually happy with the post that I gave him, especially when I drew him fiddling with this button. That is really cute. And I feel like it does represent his personality better. So this is the character sketch so far. I'm already doing the back view, but I want to talk about the front view just for a little bit. So this is the result of the character story, the visualization, and the help of the reference. Okay? There's another storytelling that is obvious that I didn't mention a while ago, that he is an amputee. Let me explain something, okay? I know that I mentioned that step one is character storytelling. Basically, what I'm saying here is that you have to think or write the characteristic of your characters kind of before drawing your OC. But there are some cases that it's the other way around. Actually, it's mostly the other way around. You draw the OC and then build a story around it. That's exactly what I did with Dio with my very first sketch of him. And the reason why Dio is an amputee is because I was genuinely lazy to draw the other arm. That was it. That was the only reason why. I mean, that was the first reason why I didn't draw the other arm, okay? I was lazy. During that time, I was struggling to draw limbs. So I was like, you know what? Heck, he's gonna have one arm only. Of course, obviously, I built a story behind that. I just didn't leave it like that. So that could happen as well. Actually, it's more than okay if you draw the OC first and then do the step one. Just do the character story. So here is the final result. This is the newly version of my character OC because this is the old one. And I wanted to refine that. And it's especially I refined his story. So I decided to redesign his model and really have this consistent style within him. Do you like it? Do you like the color palette? Because I absolutely hate it. Hate is a strong word, but let me explain for a bit. One of the things that I didn't like about this art is my line quality and the detail of the art in general. I feel like the his clothing, the backpack. I mean I keep saying backpack. The waist backpack. Oh, I can't. No, the bag on his waist looks a bit flat. So I wanted to add more volume. That's the thing. Okay, that's the thing that I feel like missing on the other art. I feel like it lacks volume and depth. So I resketched the whole thing to add a little bit more oomph to the art. Like, for example, I added more curves in the socks. Like, I feel like that one is a bit stiff. So, I changed that. And I added more not more. I added a bit more details on the shoes. I feel like it's looking plain. So I did a little bit more effort and change the scarf around his waist as well. And I also changed his color palette. I'm just gonna say something. I have a problem with saturation. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with high saturated art, but now I am glad I finally opened my third eye because too high of a saturation hurts my eye. So I dialed it back a bit. And instead of giving him warm tones, which I really love warm tones, I made the decision to give him a very cool color because the problem with the original color palette, I feel like he's just mushing together. Like everything is just looking brown and too warm to the point that your attention is in his short. At least that's my experience. I feel like my attention is too much on his short, not on his face. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that everything leads back to his face. So I changed his color into blue shorts, and I like this better. It helps the hair pops more, as well as his scarf and the goggles. And this time, it helps you lead back to his face, which is incredible. So this is the revised version, and here's a side-by-side comparison. And you can see how saturated the original color palette is. So I'm glad I changed that. So here is the character sheet. Thank you for watching if you made it this far. And yeah, I hope this is helpful for you. And good luck and have fun doing your character reference. Bye-bye!